Okay, so real talk for a second. When someone first told me about retiring early, I literally laughed. Like, bro, I'm 28. I make $42,000 a year. I have student loans. I have a car payment. I have a Netflix subscription I share with my cousin, and even that feels like a luxury. Retire early? That's for people who started a tech company. That's for people who inherited money. That's for people who are not me. And then I actually looked at the math, and I want to show you what I saw, because the math changed everything for me. This is every level of retiring early, from the moment you think it's completely impossible to the morning when your alarm goes off at 6 a.m. and you just turn it off. Let's get into it.
Level 1. Never thought possible. This is where most people live their entire lives. And I don't say that to be harsh. I say that because the system is literally designed to keep you here. Think about it. From the time you're a kid, what's the script? Go to school, get good grades, get a job, work for 40 years, retire at 65, enjoy your golden years. That's the plan. That's what everyone sells you. And look, there's nothing wrong with that plan if that's what you want. But here's what nobody tells you inside that plan. The average American retires with about $87,000 saved. Not $870,000. $87,000. That's less than 2 years of average living expenses. So the plan that everyone sold you, the work 40 years plan, isn't even working for most people who follow it perfectly. And that's when I started thinking, wait, if the default plan doesn't actually work, why am I following it without looking at alternatives? Level 1 is the moment you ask that question. Not the moment you have answers, just the moment you realize the question is worth asking. Most people never get here. They follow the script. They don't look left or right. You're watching this video, which means you already left level 1. Let's keep going. Level 2. Learning FIRE. FIRE stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. And when most people first hear about it, they think it's extreme. Like some people eating rice and beans for 10 years and never going on vacation and living like monks just to retire early. And look, some people do take it that far. I'm not judging. That's their choice. But here's what FIRE actually means at its core. It means building enough wealth that your investments generate enough income to cover your expenses. That's it. When your investments pay your bills, you don't need a job anymore. You might still work. You might do projects you love. You might start something new. But you don't have to work. And that difference between working because you have to and working because you want to, that difference is everything. Now here's how FIRE actually works. There are different versions. Lean FIRE, living on $25,000 to $40,000 a year. Minimal lifestyle. Retire early, sometimes very early, like mid-30s. Regular FIRE, living on $50,000 to $80,000 a year. Comfortable lifestyle. Retire in your 40s. Fat FIRE. Living on $100,000 plus a year. Very comfortable. No real sacrifices. Retire whenever the math works. None of these are better than the others. The question is, which one matches the life you actually want? Because retiring at 35, eating rice and beans forever, isn't freedom for most people. But retiring at 45 with a comfortable lifestyle and zero financial stress, that's worth looking at. Level 2 is where you learn the concept, find your version, and realize, oh wait, this might actually be possible for me. Level 3, the real number. This is where FIRE gets concrete. And this is the level most people skip, which is exactly why they never make progress. Here's the formula. It's called the 4% rule.
Take your annual expenses, multiply by 25. That's your FIRE number. That's how much you need invested before you can retire. Let me make that real. If you spend $40,000 a year, your number is $1 million. If you spend $60,000 a year, your number is $1.5 million. If you spend $30,000 a year, your number is $750,000. Why 25 times? Why the 4% rule? Because historically, a diversified investment portfolio has returned an average of 7 to 10% per year. If you only withdraw 4%, the remaining growth keeps your portfolio alive. Not just alive, actually growing.
The math has been tested across almost every market condition, going back nearly 100 years, including crashes, including recessions, including the worst decades the market has seen. The 4% rule held up. Now, does this mean it's guaranteed? No, nothing is guaranteed. But it's the most tested, most researched framework we have. And here's what I want you to do right now. Calculate what you actually spend in a year. Not what you think you spend, what you actually spend. Rent, food, car, insurance, subscriptions, eating out, everything. Multiply that number by 25. That's your number. Now, is your number $800,000, $1.2 million, $2 million? Whatever it is, write it down. Because you can't hit a target you can't see. Level 3 is where the dream becomes a number, and the number becomes a target. Level 4, the sacrifices that are worth it. Let's be honest here. Retiring early requires doing some things differently than the average person, and some of those things genuinely are sacrifices. But here's what I've learned. Not all sacrifices are equal. Some sacrifices cost you almost nothing in terms of happiness, but they move the needle massively on your timeline. Let me give you the real ones. Sacrifice 1, housing below your means. This one is massive. The average person spends 30 to 40% of their income on housing. The FIRE person tries to get that to 20% or below. That might mean living with roommates longer, buying a smaller house, moving to a lower-cost city, house hacking, renting out a room or unit. Does it feel like a sacrifice? A little bit, yeah. But here's the trade. Every percentage point you cut from your housing cost goes directly into investments. The person spending 20% on housing versus 35% on housing, over 10 years, that gap in net worth is enormous. Sacrifice 2, driving a car that's paid off. The average car payment in America right now is $735 a month. $735 a month invested for 10 years at 7%? Almost $128,000. I'm not saying drive a junk car. I'm saying ask yourself if the car payment is worth the timeline extension. For most people, it's not even close. Sacrifice 3, saving rate over lifestyle rate. The average American saves about 4% of their income. FIRE people typically save 30 to 50% or more. That sounds insane, but here's how it works. You don't get there overnight. You get there by every raise, don't lifestyle inflate. Every bonus goes to investments. Every extra income stream, straight to the number. Here's the timeline math based on your savings rate. Save 10% of income, working for about 40 years. Save 25%, working for about 32 years. Save 40%, working for about 22 years. Save 50%, working for about 17 years. Save 65%, working for about 10 years. The savings rate is the most powerful lever. More powerful than your income. More powerful than your investments. More powerful than anything else. These 3 sacrifices, housing, car, savings rate, are worth making. Because they don't actually cost you happiness. They cost you things that feel good for a moment but don't change your life. The freedom on the other side, that changes your life.
Level 5. The sacrifices that are not worth it. And this is the part most fire content gets completely wrong. Some people in the fire community will tell you to cut everything. Never eat out, never travel, never buy nice things, never enjoy today because tomorrow is the goal. And I'm going to respectfully push back on that. Hard. Because here's the truth. You don't know how long you have. I know that sounds heavy, but it's real. If you sacrifice every good moment for 20 years chasing a number, and then something happens, you gave up the present for a future that never came. That's not financial wisdom. That's just sad. So here are the sacrifices I think are not worth making. Cutting experiences with people you love. Trips with your family. Dinners with your friends. Your kids' activities. These are not expenses. These are your life. Budget for them. Prioritize them. Don't cut them. The math will still work. Not worth it too. Your health to save money. Cheap food that makes you feel terrible? Skipping the gym because the membership costs money. Ignoring health issues to avoid the copay. Your health is your most important asset. You're not retiring early to be sick and free. You're retiring early to be alive and free. Protect the asset. Not worth it 3? Your mental health. Some people pursuing fire become so obsessed with the number that they stop being present in their actual life. Every purchase triggers guilt. Every social event feels like a threat to the timeline. Every friend who doesn't share the same goals feels like the enemy. That's not freedom. That's a different kind of prison. The goal of fire is to build a life you love. If you hate your life on the way to fire, you're doing it wrong. Level 5 is about balance. Aggressive on the big things. Housing, car, savings rate. Generous on the things that actually make life worth living. That's the version of fire that actually works long term. Level 6. The morning, the alarm is optional. I want to describe this moment as specifically as I can, because most people have never actually imagined it. Like, really imagined it. It's 6 a.m. The alarm goes off. And you reach over, not to hit snooze, not to drag yourself out of bed to a job you have to get to. You reach over and you just turn it off. And you lie there. And you think, I don't have to go anywhere today. Not because you're sick, not because it's a holiday, not because someone gave you a day off. Because you built something that replaced the need. That moment, that specific Tuesday morning at 6 a.m., when the alarm is optional, that's what all of it was for. Now, let me tell you what actually happens after that morning. Because this part, nobody talks about either. Most people who reach fire don't just sit on the couch. They work more than ever, just on things they actually care about. They start the business they were always too scared to start. They spend time with their kids without checking their phone every 5 minutes. They take the trip, not the planned trip, the spontaneous one, the one you leave for on Thursday, because Thursday works. They volunteer, they create, they rest, actually rest, without guilt. Because rest without guilt is a thing that doesn't exist when you're employed. You ever take a vacation and spend half of it thinking about work? Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore. Here's the real math of what early retirement gives you. The average person retires at 65 and lives to about 78. That's 13 years of freedom.
Retire at 45? That's 33 years of freedom. That's not just more years. That's more years while you're still healthy, while you can travel, while your kids are still around, while your body still works. The difference between retiring at 65 and retiring at 45 isn't 20 years. It's everything.
Look, I'm not here to tell you that you have to retire early. If you love your job, keep going. That's amazing, genuinely. But I am here to tell you that the choice should be yours, not your employer's, not the economy's, not your student loans, yours. And right now, if you're working a job you have to work, that choice isn't yours yet. FIRE gives you the choice back. Start with your number. Calculate what you spend. Multiply by 25. Look at that number. Is it scary? Probably. Is it possible? Almost certainly. One level at a time. Which level are you on right now? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Let's build this together.